Board of Directors of the FRCS. I don't see the chairman, but I see another chairman, chairman of Fiji Airways, Mr. Nalin Patel, and so many familiar faces, friends from the private sector, ladies and gentlemen, and of course, leaders and good staff of FRCS. Vinaka Bakalevu, good morning. And I'm very pleased to be here today on a matter that is central to our nation's economic strength, social progress, the customs organization issues we discussed earlier today with the New Zealand minister. But this launching of the compliance improvement strategy of the Fiji Revenue and Customs Service is an important event. I've always, in my academic days, transition from academia to politics is still happening. And sometimes you wonder when the transition is going to take place. I said in Parliament, when I was giving my right of reply, that when I joined politics, I was thinking that good politics is not necessarily good policy, good economics. Or good economics or good policy is not necessarily good politics. But after being in opposition for 8 years and in government for 2.5 years, I think good policy can also be good politics. And that was my response to the opposition. But the principles of tax system, and there are a number of good principles of any tax system. You know, we can say, you know, you believe in 5, you believe in 3, you believe in 6 or 7. But I can identify 7 right now. And they include the principles of equity, flexibility, economic principle, essentially to do with revenue collection, administrative simplicity. I think the business, the taxpayers always look for administrative simplicity, ease of paying taxes. 5th, diversity. Certainty is another very important component of a good principle of a tax system, and indeed good faith. So, as the CEO said, the amnesty ends today, and the faith that taxpayers, or the trust that the taxpayers and FRCS build with each other is very important. And so if we look at our last 3 budgets, the last 2 budgets and the recent 3rd budget, we have tried to put a framework, an economic policy framework that underpins or that includes the principles or elements of the principles of taxation that I've talked about. And as we continue to build a stronger, more inclusive Fiji, we must recognize that not only a fair and effective tax system is a government mechanism, it is a shared commitment. A commitment between the state and its people. A commitment that ensures we can fund our schools, our hospitals, infrastructure, essential services, and a commitment that allows us to invest in future. And as a government, and most governments know this very well, that there is never enough. Budgets are always limited, revenues are always limited, but governments have to work within that, because an element of that includes borrowing as well and a deficit. So the idea of this new compliance strategy, in my view, is about creating a culture where compliance is not feared, but embraced. I know in organizations, especially in our civil service, there is always a very strong culture of compliance, and sometimes just focusing on compliance may not necessarily yield effective results. I think compliance with facilitation, with trust, with partnership, things can happen quickly and more effectively and efficiently. And this means that taxpayers feel that they are not just contributors, but partners in nation building. The Compliance Improvement Strategy, or CIS for short, is built on a simple but powerful idea. And that, I think, is a very important idea. Voluntary compliance is the foundation of national development. When taxpayers willingly meet their obligations of registering, filing, paying taxes on time, and on top of that, reporting accurately, we all benefit. Everyone benefits in the country. Roads are built, schools are maintained, health services are up to date, medicines are available, and a lot of work in the infrastructure continues. We build a stronger society, a stronger economy, and we all grow together. But we all know that compliance doesn't happen just by chance. It requires, as I said earlier, trust. It requires clarity. It requires patience. It requires processes that are efficient, effective, and a system that is both fair and equitable. So I want to commend FRCS, commend the board and the CEO and the leadership for taking a very strategic, data-driven approach in identifying key compliance risks across sectors, such as VAT, wholesale, retail, and small and medium enterprises. These are core segments of our economy, but they also face unique challenges. And the compliance strategy addresses these challenges head-on with targeted interventions, modern technology, and a renewed focus on taxpayer education and support. I know that FRCS is embracing innovation, leveraging digital platforms, real-time data, and smart enforcement tools. They're also simplifying processes, reducing red tape, making it easier for businesses to comply, and also strengthening partnerships with industry, with communities, and everyone who believes in doing the right thing. So it is about partnership. It's about creating and building a culture where compliance is the norm. And it can be done. It can be done. That we can build this culture, this norm, this habit, where honesty is rewarded, where the tax system is seen not as a burden, but as a shared investment in our future. And I want to say this to our business community. We value your contribution. We value your thinking. We value your ideas. And I've always said that there is a lot of wisdom that resides outside of government systems, government bureaucracies, government organizations, especially in the private sector, amongst business leaders, because you are the thought leaders, you are the creators, you are the innovators. And as a government, we recognize this very early in our term. We called the Economic Summit, we formulated a comprehensive national development plan, one of the most consulted development plans ever in the country. And we benefited greatly from the inputs of the private sector and the communities. And we are now involving the private sector, and I know we are working with professional bodies. We are supporting some of these professional bodies with grants as well for the first time, so that they can use that to further educate their members and get things done in partnership with the government. So it is about partnership, and we're not just talking about it, we're actually taking actions to build that partnership and cooperation. And we want to create a somewhat a level playing field for every player in the economy. There are differences of opinion about level of protection we have in our economy, our tariff rates, and in the budget, we have tried to anticipate the current global economic uncertainty. As I said, this is an uncertainty that we probably have not had in the way of economic policy uncertainty emanating out of the tariff war that's going on at the moment. We don't know the deadline. We also have a tariff deadline today, CEO. We still don't know what the US government will do in terms of the tariff negotiations that we are currently going through. So the 2025-2026 budget has been formulated within a framework of this global uncertainty, so that our own domestic policies are geared towards addressing some fundamental impacts that we may have as a result of this global economic uncertainty, whether it's through remittances, whether it's through tourism, whether it's through investment. So we have taken a slightly different approach compared to the last two budgets. Our deficit is about 6%, but on average, still less than 4.5% over the last 3 years. And this, in our view, is going to help us navigate through any uncertainty. And I think the budget measures is also going to help us create economic activity. Part of that, of course, would be to collect more revenue as well, to keep our projected deficit within the budget estimates. And I'm very pleased to say, and I want to thank FRCS, leadership within FRCS, the CEO, the board, at all levels, that after a long time, we have our projections in the budget, our revenue projections in the budget have been on target, if not more than the target. I think we're going to pass the target for the last financial year. So again, I want to take this opportunity, friends, ladies and gentlemen, to thank FRCS. Thank you for your leadership, your innovation, your dedication to public service. And I think this strategy that we will be launching today is a good testament to your vision and your hard work. Again, I want to say thank the board, CEO, and the senior leadership. I think we all came together, ensure that we are able to achieve the objectives of the budget, but more importantly, in the broader framework, the vision that we've set out in the National Development Plan. And before I conclude, I want to just make a brief remark about the National Development Plan, the 2025-2029, and the 2050 vision. It is very important for us as a country to have a vision, to have a goal, to set a path, and how we can reach that vision of 2050 to make Fiji a high-income country. And that's doable, that's possible, and the strategies we have put in the National Development Plan can take us to that vision of 2050, where Fiji will become a high-income country. It is not about who's going to be in government. It is not about policies. It will be about how we act on it. And business as usual, I say this to my colleagues in government, I say this to our civil servants, our senior leadership, and I say this to the private sector as well, that business as usual will not take us to our 2050 vision. This strategy, CEO, is part of that broader vision, broader strategy for us to achieve a high income status for Fiji. So thank you once again, and I'm extremely delighted to be here to launch this very important strategy, compliance improvement strategy that you have formulated. Thank you for the invitation. Vinaka Wakilevu, Dhanyawad, and Shukriya.
At FRCS, we believe that building a fair and efficient tax system begins with trust and collaboration. Our compliance improvement strategy is at the heart of this vision. It's designed to help taxpayers understand their obligations, meet them voluntarily, and engage with us more openly. Through the CIS, we're strengthening our support systems, especially for small and micro businesses, where we offer free education, advisory services, and simplified processes. It's not just about enforcement, it's about partnerships. When taxpayers comply voluntarily, everyone benefits, including our communities, our economy, and our future. Together, let's build a stronger, more transparent Fiji. Tanaka.
Thank you.